And we'll keep drifting, floating together through the science of health, looping softly, endlessly, through the night with the wisdom of Dr. Willem Lee. Tonight we'll drift through the biological alchemy of your body's repair kit, the hidden foods that wake up dormant healers, the microscopic garden where your future self begins. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink. Heavier, heavier. Feel the mattress holding you, every muscle softening, your heartbeat slowing, thump, thump, matching the rhythm of regeneration itself. Shoulders melting down, jaw releasing, each breath pulling you deeper, deeper into the calm, the quiet, the dark. If this health learning video helps you rest, tap subscribe, comment, and hit like, so others can find this calm too, but only if your eyes are still open. Otherwise, just drift. Now, let's drift into the stem cells, right now, as your eyelids grow heavy, as your breathing slows to a whisper. Something miraculous is beginning. Deep in the hidden chambers of your bone marrow, in the cathedral of your bones, tiny architects are waking. These are your stem cells, not the ones you've heard about in laboratories, but the ones you were born with, the ones that have been sleeping, waiting in the darkness of your marrow, like seeds in winter soil. Imagine them, these mesenchymal stem cells, like liquid potential, neither one thing nor another, but capable of becoming anything your body needs. A cartilage cell, a bone cell, a fat cell. They sit in their niches, those quiet pockets in your bone marrow, listening, always listening to the chemical whispers of your body. When tissue tears, when blood vessels need repair, when organs cry out for renewal, these cells hear and they respond. They leave their safe harbors, slip into your bloodstream and travel, floating through rivers of plasma, searching, finding, transforming, and beside them, flowing through the same crimson channels, are your hematopoietic stem cells, the mother cells of your immune system, every white blood cell that has ever defended you, every red blood cell that has carried oxygen to your fingertips, every platelet that sealed a wound, all of them, born from these ancient progenitors. They divide and divide again, each division a choice, a branching path, becoming exactly what your body needs in that moment. T cells, B cells, natural killer cells, an army assembled from a single source. Feel your pulse, that gentle drumbeat. Each throb moves these cells through your vascular system, past your heart, through your lungs, to every tissue that calls for healing. The endothelial progenitor cells, traveling with them, are especially beautiful. They sense damaged blood vessels the way moths sense moonlight, irresistibly drawn. And when they arrive, they become the new lining, fresh endothelium, smooth as silk, allowing blood to flow without turbulence, without clots. This process, this ancient miracle, is called angiogenesis. the birth of new blood vessels, tiny capillaries sprouting like spring branches, reaching into healing tissue, bringing oxygen, nutrients, life itself. Every blood vessel in your body was once nothing more than a signal, a chemical call, answered by these wandering healers. Your body, this soft machine of flesh and thought, has 5 defense systems, 5 layers of protection working in concert, like an orchestra playing in the dark. The first, regeneration, the stem cells we're learning about now. The second, angiogenesis, that delicate choreography of new vessel growth. The third, your microbiome, that garden of trillions living in your gut. The fourth, DNA protection, the careful maintenance of your genetic library. And the fifth, immunity, your body's ability to distinguish self from other, friend from threat. All 5 systems, communicating, cooperating, creating something greater than their sum, homeostasis, that perfect balance, neither too much nor too little, just right. And here's the secret, the one that lets you drift deeper now, knowing you're safe, cared for from within. Certain foods, humble foods, foods you might pass in a market without a second glance, contain molecular keys, bioactives, compounds so small you could fit billions on the head of a pin, yet powerful enough to wake your stem cells from dormancy. These dietary bioactives don't work like drugs. They don't force. They don't override. Instead, they whisper to your genes. They knock gently on cellular doors. They remind your body of what it already knows how to do. Picture a blueberry, not the idea of a blueberry hun, but a real one. Its skin, that deep midnight blue, almost black where the light doesn't reach, is packed with anthocyanins, color molecules, pigments that paint the berry's defenses. But when you eat them, when they dissolve on your tongue, slip down your throat, meet your stomach acid, these molecules begin a transformation. They travel through your intestinal wall, enter your bloodstream, and find your endothelial cells, the lining of your blood vessels. There, they activate genetic switches, telling your bone marrow, send the healers, send the repair crews, and your mesenchymal stem cells, those shapeshifters, they mobilize, increasing in your blood by measurable amounts, circulating, searching, ready to rebuild. Blackberries and raspberries and strawberries, each one a different symphony of the same molecular music. The anthocyanins in raspberries lean towards cyanidin, those in blackberries toward delphinidin, but all of them, speak to your vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF, the master signal of angiogenesis. Eat a handful of berries, and within hours, your VEGF levels rise, gently, naturally. And where VEGF goes, new blood vessels follow, like following breadcrumb through a forest. Your endothelial progenitor cells track the signal, arriving at tissues that need fresh circulation, organs recovering from damage, muscles rebuilding after exercise. Let your jaw relax more, your tongue soft in your mouth, as we drift to another place, another molecule. Pomegranates, those ruby chambers, each seed surrounded by translucent pink flesh, contain ellagic acid, a compound so powerful, so elegantly designed, that it protects your DNA itself. Think of your chromosomes, those twisted ladders of information. At their ends, like the plastic tips on shoelaces, are telomeres, repeating sequences that protect your genetic code from unraveling. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres shorten. This is cellular aging, written in molecular language, but ellagic acid from pomegranates, from raspberries, from walnuts, it reduces the oxidative stress that damages telomeres. It's not that it stops time, but it slows the fraying, preserves the genetic library a little longer. Your gut bacteria, those trillions of microbes in your intestinal garden, they transform ellagic acid into urolithin A, a molecule your body cannot make on its own, and urolithin A is magic, pure cellular magic. It triggers mitophagy, the recycling of old, dysfunctional mitochondria, those tiny power plants in every cell. Out with the broken, in with the efficient. More energy, less oxidative damage, less cellular senescence. Senescence. That's when cells stop dividing, stop functioning properly, but refuse to die. They sit there, secreting inflammatory signals, aging their neighbors. But when your stem cells are active, when your regeneration system is strong, senescent cells get cleared away, removed by your immune system, making space for fresh tissue, for renewal. Now, let's drift to your morning coffee. That dark liquid, bitter and bright, contains chlorogenic acid, not in huge amounts, but enough to matter. When chlorogenic acid enters your body, it does something subtle, something most people never feel, but is happening nonetheless. It modulates your insulin response, helps your cells take up glucose more efficiently, and stable blood sugar, stable energy. That's the foundation for healthy stem cell function. But coffee does more. The polyphenols in those roasted beans, they feed your gut microbiome, specifically Akkermansia mucinifera, a bacterium with a beautiful name and an even more beautiful function. It lives in your intestinal mucus layer, strengthening the barrier between your gut contents and your bloodstream, preventing inflammation, supporting your immune system, and inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation, that's the silent enemy of regeneration. When your body is constantly inflamed, your stem cells can't hear the signals, can't respond properly. The noise drowns out the music. But when inflammation calms, when your gut barrier is strong, when your microbiome is diverse, the signals come through clearly. Stem cells mobilize. Healing happens. Feel yourself sinking, even heavier now, as we visit a different kind of vessel. Not blood vessels, but the ones carrying green tea to your lips. Green tea, especially the Japanese ceremonial grades, matcha, sencha, contains a compound called epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG for short. The name sounds clinical, but its action is poetry. EGCG is one of the most powerful natural modulators of angiogenesis we know. In cancer cells, it restricts blood vessel growth, starving tumours, but in healthy tissue, it enhances it, promotes it, helps new vessels form where they're needed. This intelligence, this ability to know when to encourage and when to restrict, that's the wisdom of food-based bioactives. They work with your body's context. They read the situation, adjust their effects. You can't program a drug to do that. Not yet. But evolution, billions of years of plants and animals co-evolving, has created these elegant solutions. Black tea, oxidized, fermented, contains different catechins, the aflavins, the rubigins, compounds created during the drying process. And these molecules, they support your endothelial function differently than green tea. They're more antioxidant, more protective of the delicate single-cell lining of your blood vessels. That endothelium, only one cell thick, separates your blood from the rest of your tissues. It's a border, a barrier, a communication system. And when it's healthy, when those endothelial cells are vital and responsive, your entire cardiovascular system works better. Better flow, better oxygenation, better nutrient delivery, better waste removal. This is the foundation, the ground floor of every healing process. Let your eyes rest if they're not already closed. Let the weight of your eyelids be complete as we drift deeper still into red. Tomatoes, especially cooked tomatoes, tomato paste, contain lycopene. That's the red pigment, the colour of summer, of sun-warmed fruit. But lycopene is more than colour. When you heat tomatoes, cook them in olive oil, the lycopene becomes more bioavailable, easier for your body to absorb, and once absorbed, it concentrates in your prostate, your lungs, your liver, acting as an antioxidant, protecting cellular membranes from oxidative damage. But here's what's extraordinary. Lycopene enhances the activity of your hematopoietic stem cells, those blood-forming progenitors. Studies show that men with higher lycopene levels have more robust immune function, more diverse white blood cell populations, more cellular resilience. The stem cells in their bone marrow are simply more active, more responsive. Watermelon, that pink flesh, so sweet, so summer, also contains lycopene, along with citrulline, an amino acid that your kidneys convert to arginine, which your endothelial cells use to make nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, is the great relaxer, the great dilator. It tells your blood vessels to widen, to ease, to allow more flow, lower blood pressure, better circulation, more oxygen to every tissue. This is the web, the interconnected web, where every molecule, every food, every bioactive touches multiple systems, pulls multiple threads. Your body doesn't have isolated pathways. Everything communicates. Everything collaborates. Now, drift with me to something green, vibrant, alive. Broccoli. Those tiny trees, dark green, almost blue-green, contain sulforaphane, especially the sprouts, those 3-day-old shoots. They contain 50 to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli, a concentrated dose of cellular activation. Sulforaphane is an isothiocyanate, a sulfur-containing compound, and it does something remarkable inside your cells. It activates a protein called NRF2, the master regulator of your antioxidant response. When NRF2 activates, it travels to your cell nucleus, to your DNA, and switches on genes, dozens of genes, all involved in detoxification, in antioxidant production, in cellular protection. Your cells suddenly make more glutathione, the body's master antioxidant, more catalase, more superoxide dismutase, an entire defensive arsenal produced from within, not supplemented, not artificially added, but awakened from your own genetic potential. And here's the connection to stem cells. When your cellular environment is protected, when oxidative stress is low, when inflammation is minimal, stem cells can focus on regeneration, not damage control. They divide more cleanly, differentiate more accurately, perform their healing functions without distraction. Bok choy, kale, Swiss chard, arugula, spinach, all the leafy greens, they all contain isothiocyanates, different ones, creating different effects, but all protective, all supportive. Arugula's isothiocyanates are more peppery, more immediate, while kales are gentler, more sustained. But variety, diversity in the diet, that gives your cells the full spectrum of molecular tools. Feel the weight of your head on the pillow. Notice how it sinks as we float to the Mediterranean, to olive groves, ancient trees with silver leaves, extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, unfiltered, contains oleic acid, a monounsaturated fat, but also hundreds of polyphenols, compounds like oleocanthal, which has anti-inflammatory properties similar to ibuprofen. You can feel it, that peppery burn in the back of your throat when you taste good olive oil. That's the oleocanthal, triggering the same receptor. But unlike ibuprofen, oleocanthal comes with friends, with hydroxytyrosol, with oleuropein, compounds that protect your endothelium, reduce LDL oxidation, support healthy blood pressure, and fats, good fats. They're essential for stem cell membranes, for the fluidity of cellular walls, for the signaling pathways that tell stem cells when to mobilize. Your brain is 60% fat. Your cell membranes are made of fatty acids. When you eat quality fats, olive oil, walnuts, fatty fish, you're literally providing the building blocks for healthy cellular architecture. Walnuts, those wrinkled hemispheres that look like tiny brains, contain alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid, the plant-based version. Your body converts some of it to EPA and DHA, the longer-chain omega-3s, though not very efficiently. But walnuts also contain ellagic acid, remember, from pomegranates. And they contain polyphenols that support your microbiome. Eating walnuts regularly increases the diversity of your gut bacteria, feeds beneficial species, produces more short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, propionate, acetate, and butyrate. Beautiful butyrate. That's the preferred fuel of your colonocytes, the cells lining your colon. It keeps your intestinal barrier strong, reduces systemic inflammation, supports your immune system. Pistachios, pine nuts, pecans, cashews. Each nut has its own profile, its own combination of fats, minerals, bioactives. Pistachios are particularly rich in lutein for eye health. Pine nuts contain pinolenic acid, which triggers satiety hormones. Pecans have more antioxidants than almost any other nut, helping protect your DNA, your cellular machinery. And minerals, zinc in cashews, magnesium in almonds, selenium in Brazil nuts. These aren't just nice to have, they're cofactors, helper molecules that enzymes need to function. Without adequate zinc, your immune cells can't develop properly. Without magnesium, your cells can't produce ATP efficiently, your energy currency. Without selenium, your thyroid hormones can't convert properly. Your stem cells, your regenerative capacity, depends on having all the raw materials, not just the fancy bioactives, but the basic building blocks, the minerals, the vitamins, the essential fats. Let your breathing slow even more, each exhale longer than the last, as we drift to seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Each one a tiny package of potential, of compressed life. Flax seeds contain lignans, plant compounds that your gut bacteria convert to enterolignans, which have weak estrogenic activity, helping balance hormones, protecting mammary tissue, supporting prostate health. Chia seeds swell in liquid, becoming gelatinous. This gel, this mucilage, it feeds your gut bacteria, acts as a prebiotic. And prebiotics, those are different from probiotics. Probiotics are the bacteria themselves. Prebiotics are the food for beneficial bacteria. You need both, the seeds and the soil, the bacteria and the food that feeds them. Pumpkin seeds, those flat green ovals, contain zinc, iron, magnesium, and compounds that support prostate health in men, urinary health in women. They're also rich in tryptophan, the amino acid your body converts to serotonin and eventually melatonin, the very hormone that's helping you drift deeper into sleep right now, into the space where healing happens, where stem cells do their deepest work. Sunflower seeds, striped or black, contain vitamin E, the fat-soluble antioxidant, protecting cellular membranes from lipid peroxidation. That's when fats in your cell walls get damaged by oxidation, becoming dysfunctional. But vitamin E, it sacrifices itself, gets oxidized instead, protecting the membrane. Then vitamin C, water-soluble, regenerates the vitamin E, recycling it. A beautiful partnership between fat-soluble and water-soluble antioxidants. Now, as your muscles go even softer, as sensation starts to blur, we drift to legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, each one a protein package wrapped in fiber, studded with minerals. Legumes are unique because they form relationships, symbioses, with soil bacteria, nitrogen-fixing bacteria that live in nodules on their roots. These bacteria take nitrogen from the air, convert it to forms the plant can use, and in return, the plant feeds the bacteria sugars. This cooperation, this mutual benefit, it continues when you eat legumes. They feed your gut bacteria, particularly species that produce butyrate, that golden short-chain fatty acid. And butyrate, it doesn't just feed your colon cells, it has systemic effects. It reduces inflammation throughout your body, modulates your immune system, even crosses into your brain, affecting mood, cognition, clarity. Black beans, midnight dark, contain anthocyanins. Yes, the same compounds as in berries, different structures, but similar functions, supporting your vascular health, protecting your DNA. Kidney beans, red or white, contain resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate your body can't digest, but your bacteria can, fermenting it, producing those beneficial short-chain fatty acids. The fiber in legumes, both soluble and insoluble. It slows digestion, prevents blood sugar spikes, feeds beneficial bacteria, helps you feel satisfied. And satisfaction, satiety, that prevents overeating, prevents the metabolic stress that comes from constant elevated blood sugar, from insulin resistance, from inflammation. Your stem cells, they can sense your metabolic state. When you're metabolically healthy, when your blood sugar is stable, when inflammation is low, they function optimally. But when metabolism is disrupted, when insulin is constantly elevated, stem cell function declines, regenerative capacity dims. Feel yourself floating now, lighter, even as you sink heavier. Paradox, dream logic, as we enter the forest, the mushroom world. Mushrooms, those fruit bodies of vast underground networks, mycelial webs spreading through soil, through logs, connecting trees, sharing nutrients. Information. Fungi are more closely related to animals than to plants. We share common ancestors, and perhaps that's why mushroom compounds interact so powerfully with our biology. Shiitake mushrooms, those umbrella caps, tan and spotted, contain lentinan, a beta-glucan polysaccharide. Beta-glucans are long chains of glucose molecules, but arranged in a pattern your digestive enzymes can't break down. Instead, they pass through your stomach, reach your small intestine, where immune cells detect them, recognize them as foreign, as potential threats. But this recognition, it's not harmful. It's training. It's your immune system doing practice drills. Natural killer cells become more active, macrophages more vigilant. Your hematopoietic stem cells receive signals. We need more immune cells, more defenders, and they respond, differentiating, multiplying, mobilizing. May take mushrooms. Dancing mushrooms in Japanese contain a different beta-glucan. diffraction, which seems particularly good at activating dendritic cells, those antigen-presenting cells that show T cells what to look for, what to attack. This is immune education, immune optimization, not suppression, not overactivation, but balance. The ability to respond appropriately to actual threats while ignoring harmless substances. Enoki mushrooms, those long white strands, delicate, almost translucent, contain flammelin, a compound with anti-tumor properties, and lion's mane. That white cascade, that flowing mane, contains compounds called terracinones and erinacines, which cross the blood-brain barrier, stimulate nerve growth factor, NGF, supporting neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons, the regeneration of nerve tissue. Yes, even in your brain, in your nervous system, regeneration happens. Not as dramatically as in your blood, not as obviously as in your skin, but it happens. Stem cells in your hippocampus, neural progenitor cells, they divide, differentiate, integrate into existing circuits throughout your life. This capacity, this potential, it's supported by the foods you eat, the lifestyle you live, and now, as your consciousness dims to a flicker, we slip beneath the waves, into cold water, dark water, where fish swim in silver schools, salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, the cold water fatty fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid. These aren't just molecules, they're cellular building blocks. They integrate into cell membranes, making them more fluid, more flexible, improving signaling, improving communication between cells. DHA is especially concentrated in your brain, in your retinas, in your heart. It's essential for fetal brain development, for maintaining cognitive function as you age, for protecting against neurodegenerative disease. And EPA, it's the precursor to resolvins, specialized pro-resolving mediators, compounds your body makes from omega-3s to actively resolve inflammation, not just suppress symptoms, but actually turn off inflammatory signaling, restore homeostasis. When you eat fatty fish twice a week, your endothelial function improves measurably. Your blood vessels dilate more easily, respond more appropriately to signals. Your blood becomes less likely to clot inappropriately, and your stem cells, those endothelial progenitor cells, they circulate in higher numbers, more active, more ready to repair damaged vessels. Sardines, small, sustainable, bones soft enough to eat. Those bones provide calcium in a form your body can actually use, along with vitamin D if they're wild caught, sun exposed. Calcium isn't just for bones. It's a signaling molecule, essential for muscle contraction, for nerve transmission, for stem cell differentiation. The concentration of calcium inside and outside cells, that gradient, that difference, it drives countless cellular processes. Anchovies, intense, salty, contain high amounts of selenium, that essential trace mineral. Selenium is the core of selenoproteins, proteins that protect your cells from oxidative damage, that regulate thyroid function, that support immune function. Without adequate selenium, your body can't make enough glutathione peroxidase, one of your most important antioxidant enzymes. And squid ink, yes, that black liquid, the defense mechanism of cephalopods. It contains polysaccharides, melanin, antioxidants, traditionally used in Mediterranean cuisine, pasta nero, risotto nero, and research suggests it has anti-inflammatory properties, antimicrobial effects. It's exotic, unusual, but it's part of this vast library of oceanic bioactives, oysters and mussels, bivalves, filter feeders, concentrating minerals from seawater, zinc, iron, selenium, vitamin B12. Zinc is crucial, absolutely crucial, for immune function, for DNA synthesis, for stem cell proliferation. Without adequate zinc, your thymus gland, where T cells mature, begins to atrophy, immune function declines, healing slows. Your breath is so soft now, barely moving, as we drift inland, to spices, to roots, to bulbs growing in dark soil. Turmeric, that golden rhizome, knobby and orange inside, contains curcumin, perhaps one of the most studied bioactives. Curcumin is promiscuous in the best way. It interacts with multiple molecular targets, reduces NF-κB activation, that's a master switch for inflammation, increases NRF2, that's cellular protection, modulates multiple signaling pathways simultaneously. The challenge with curcumin, it's not well absorbed, it's rapidly metabolized. But when you combine it with black pepper, with piperine, absorption increases 20-fold, and when you consume it with fats, it dissolves, becomes more bioavailable. This is why traditional preparations, golden milk, curry, always include fats, always include spices together. Curcumin supports stem cell function, particularly in the brain, enhancing neurogenesis. In studies, it increases the number of neural progenitor cells, improves their differentiation, and in the gut, it modulates the microbiome, increases beneficial species, strengthens the intestinal barrier, reduces the translocation of bacterial products into your bloodstream. This is leaky gut when the barrier fails, when inflammation becomes systemic. Ginger, turmeric's cousin, pungent, spicy, contains gingerols and shogaols, compounds that reduce nausea, improve digestion, enhance gut motility, but also they're anti-inflammatory. They inhibit inflammatory enzymes COX-2, 5-LX, the same targets as many pharmaceutical drugs, but without the side effect, without the gastric damage. Garlic, those pungent bulbs wrapped in papery white skin. When you crush garlic, cut it, chop it, you rupture cells. An enzyme called alliinase meets its substrate, allin, and creates allicin. That's the smell, that distinctive garlic aroma. And allicin, it's antimicrobial, antifungal. It lowers blood pressure, improves cholesterol profiles, but more than that, aged garlic extract, where allicin has converted to other sulfur compounds. It stimulates immune function, enhances natural killer cell activity, supports cardiovascular health. The sulfur compounds in garlic, their signaling molecules, they communicate with your cells, telling them to activate protective pathways, to produce antioxidants, to resist damage. Onions, leeks, scallions, all alliums, all containing similar compounds, different ratios, different intensities, but all supportive, all protective. And onions contain quercetin, especially in the outer layers, that papery brown skin you peel away. Quercetin is a flavonoid, a pigment, and it's remarkably anti-inflammatory. It stabilizes mast cells, prevents histamine release, modulates immune responses. Quercetin also appears to enhance stem cell mobilization, particularly when combined with other bioactives, with anthocyanins, with omega-3s. This is synergy, the whole greater than the sum of its parts. No single compound, no single food creates optimal health, but the pattern, the combination, the daily rhythm of varied, colourful whole foods that creates the biological symphony, that activates your innate healing capacity, and as you sink deeper still, barely conscious, we visit the fermented, the cultured, the alive, kimchi, that spicy Korean preparation, napa cabbage, gochugaru, garlic, ginger, fish sauce, fermented for days, weeks. The lactobacillus bacteria, they eat the sugars in the vegetables, produce lactic acid, lowering the pH, preserving the food, but they also produce B vitamins, vitamin K2, bioactive peptides. When you eat kimchi, you're eating living bacteria. Billions of them. They travel through your stomach. Many die in the acid, but some survive. Reach your small intestine, your colon. There they interact with your existing microbiome, compete with potential pathogens, produce signaling molecules that communicate with your immune system, with your gut lining. Your gut, your intestinal tract, contains 70% of your immune system. More immune cells, more antibodies, more immune tissue than anywhere else in your body. Because this is the border, the interface between the external world and your internal sterile tissues. Everything you swallow, every microbe on your food, it all passes through this barrier. This is where decisions get made, friend or foe, tolerate or attack, absorb or exclude. Sauerkraut, fermented cabbage, tangy, sour, contains similar bacteria, lactobacillus, leuconostoc, pediococcus, but also cabbage contains glucosinolates, those precursors to isothiocyanates we discussed earlier, and fermentation. It can increase the bioavailability of these compounds, make them easier to absorb, more active. Sourdough bread, made with wild yeast and bacteria, not commercial yeast. The long fermentation, 12 to 48 hours, it breaks down gluten proteins, reduces phytic acid, that compound that binds minerals, making them unavailable. Traditional sourdough is more digestible, more nutritious, more supportive of gut health than quick-rise breads. Gouda cheese, Jarlsberg cheese. Aged cheeses fermented with specific bacteria. They contain vitamin K2, specifically MK9, the longer-chain menaquinone. Vitamin K2 is crucial, absolutely crucial, for directing calcium to your bones, keeping it out of your arteries. Without adequate K2, calcium can deposit in soft tissues, in blood vessel walls, contributing to atherosclerosis, to arterial stiffening. But with adequate K2 from fermented foods, from grass-fed dairy, from natto if you're brave, calcium goes where it should. Bones strengthen, arteries stay supple. This is intelligent nutrition, nutrients working together, directing each other, creating optimal outcomes. And your microbiome, those trillions of bacteria in your gut, they're not passive, they're active participants in your biology. They produce short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, propionate, acetate, from fibers you can't digest. They synthesize certain vitamins, CoQ2, B12, biotin. They break down certain plant compounds, converting them to more bioactive forms. Akkermansia mucinifera, that strain we mentioned earlier, it degrades mucin, the gel-like substance lining your intestines. This might sound harmful, but it's not. It stimulates your intestinal cells to produce more mucin, thickening the barrier, strengthening it. And Akkermansia is associated with metabolic health, lower inflammation, better insulin sensitivity, healthy body weight, Lactobacillus reuteri. Another beneficial strain, it produces antimicrobial compounds, reuterin, that inhibits pathogenic bacteria. But it also stimulates oxytocin production. Yes, the bonding hormone, the love hormone, through the gut-brain axis, through the vagus nerve. L-reuteri influences your mood, your social behavior, your stress response. Bifidobacterium, particularly prevalent in infants, but declining with age. These bacteria ferment fibers, produce acetate, protect against pathogens, and in animal studies, supplementing with certain Bifidobacterium strains, increased lifespan, improved health span, enhanced markers of cellular health, your microbiome, your gut garden. It's under your control, not completely, but significantly. The diversity, the composition, the balance, all influenced by diet, by fiber intake, by fermented foods, by the absence of unnecessary antibiotics. Each meal is a choice, each day a pattern, and over weeks, months, years, these choices shape your microbiome, which in turn shapes your immune system, your metabolism, your brain chemistry, your longevity pathways. Now, as consciousness fragments, as dreams begin to intrude, whispers of narrative, we turn to cycles, to rhythms, to the passage of time within a day. Intermittent fasting, the practice of restricting eating to certain windows, 8 hours, 6 hours, different protocols, different approaches, but the mechanism, the biological effect, it's profound. When you fast, when no food is coming in, Your insulin levels drop. Your body switches from growth mode to maintenance mode to repair mode. In this fasted state, cells activate autophagy, self-eating, the process where cellular components get broken down, recycled, damaged proteins, dysfunctional organelles. They're targeted, degraded, their components reused. This is cellular housekeeping, spring cleaning, and when autophagy is active, cellular health improves. Senescent cells may be cleared, stem cells enter a protected state. Then, when you eat again, when nutrients return, stem cells activate, divide, regenerate. This cycle, fasting and feeding, stress and recovery, it keeps cellular systems dynamic, responsive, plastic rather than rigid. The fasting mimicking diet, a specific protocol developed by researchers. 5 days of very low calories, specific ratios of macronutrients, designed to trigger the same pathways as water fasting, but safer, easier, more sustainable. Studies show it promotes stem cell regeneration, particularly hematopoietic stem cells in bone marrow. After the 5 days after the period of scarcity, stem cells proliferate, creating fresh immune cells, rejuvenating the system. Caloric restriction, eating less overall, not just timing, but total amount. This is the most robust intervention for extending lifespan, at least in laboratory animals. Mice, rats, worms, flies, primates, all live longer, healthier. When calories are restricted without malnutrition, the mechanism seems to involve cellular stress responses. When resources are scarce, cells become more efficient, more careful. They invest in maintenance rather than growth. They activate longevity pathways, SIRT1, AMPK. mTOR gets inhibited, and cells shift into a more resilient state. But, and this is crucial, you don't need severe restriction, you don't need deprivation. Even modest reductions, 10 to 15% fewer calories, even time-restricted eating, these provide benefits. And the quality of your diet, the bioactives we've been discussing, they matter more than pure calorie counting. Nutrient density, that's the goal. Maximum nutrition per calorie. Your eyelids, so heavy now, impossible to open, even if you wanted to, which you don't, and we drift through one more mechanism, one more layer, hypoxia-inducible factor, HIF. This protein system, it senses oxygen. When oxygen is low, HIF activates, travels to the nucleus, switches on genes, hundreds of genes, involved in angiogenesis, in metabolism, in stem cell mobilization. During exercise, during breath holding, at high altitude, oxygen drops, HIF activates, and one of the genes it switches on produces SDF1, stromal-derived factor 1. This is a chemokine, a signaling molecule that calls stem cells out of bone marrow, mobilizes them, sends them circulating. SDF1 binds to a receptor on stem cells, CXCR4, and this binding, this molecular handshake, it tells stem cells, leave your niche, enter the bloodstream, go find damaged tissue. This is how exercise promotes healing, how altitude training enhances red blood cell production, how your body responds to physiological stress with regeneration. VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor. We've mentioned it, but it deserves more attention. It's the master signal for angiogenesis. When tissues need more blood supply, when oxygen is low, when metabolic demand is high, cells secrete VEGF. And VEGF, it binds to receptors on endothelial cells, on endothelial progenitor cells, telling them, sprout, migrate, form new vessels. Without VEGF, without angiogenesis, wounds wouldn't heal, muscles wouldn't adapt to exercise. Your heart couldn't develop collateral circulation after a blockage. It's essential, fundamental, and the foods we've discussed, berries, green tea, pomegranates, dark chocolate. Yes, dark chocolate, with at least 80% cocoa. They all modulate VEGF, supporting healthy angiogenesis, where needed, when needed. Dark chocolate, those bitter squares, they contain flavonols, cocoa flavonols, and these compounds are remarkable. They improve endothelial function within hours of consumption. Literally hours. They increase nitric oxide production, dilate blood vessels, improve blood flow to the brain, to the heart, and regular consumption daily. It lowers blood pressure, improves insulin sensitivity, protects against cardiovascular disease, but it must be dark, 80% cocoa or higher. The milk chocolate, the candy bars, they're mostly sugar. The flavonols are there, but diluted, overwhelmed. And the processing matters. Dutch processing, alkalization, it destroys flavonols, raw cacao, minimally processed dark chocolate. That's where the bioactives survive. Red grapes, Concord grapes, especially the skins, they contain resveratrol, that compound everyone talks about from red wine. But you don't need wine. The grapes themselves, grape juice, that provides resveratrol without the alcohol, without the ethanol's damaging effects. Resveratrol activates sirtuins, SIRT1, proteins involved in cellular stress responses, in DNA repair, in longevity, in animal studies. Resveratrol mimics some effects of caloric restriction, extends lifespan in yeast, in worms, in flies, in mammals. The evidence is more mixed, more complex, but the cellular mechanisms are clear. Resveratrol influences fundamental aging pathways, and kiwi fruit, those fuzzy brown ovals, bright green inside, studded with tiny black seeds. They contain more vitamin C than oranges, more potassium than bananas. They contain actinidin, a protein-digesting enzyme that improves digestion, and they contain polysaccharides that feed beneficial gut bacteria, prebiotic effects. The vitamin C, ascorbic acid, it's not just for preventing scurvy, it's a cofactor for collagen synthesis, essential for wound healing, for blood vessel integrity, for bone health. It regenerates vitamin E, acts as an antioxidant itself, protects immune cells from oxidative damage, and your neutrophils, your most abundant white blood cells, They concentrate vitamin C, actively transport it inside, using it to produce hypochlorous acid to kill bacteria, to fight infection. Now, barely here, more gone than present, drifting at the edge of sleep. Let your mind soften around one final truth. Your stem cells bloom from darkness. They wake in the quiet, between heartbeats, between breaths. The body knows its own repair. The foods remember their purpose. Ancient molecules finding ancient receptors. Keys turning in locks older than language. Each berry, a signal, each leaf, a whisper, each root, a reminder. You contain the capacity to heal, not because of anything external, but because healing is what living things do. And these foods, these humble foods, they don't give you anything new. They remind your body of what it already knows. They remove the static, clear the channels, let the signals through. Your mesenchymal stem cells, floating now in your blood. Your hematopoietic lineages, branching, diversifying. Your endothelial progenitors, seeking, finding, repairing. All of this happening without your conscious effort, in the dark, in the sleep, in the surrender. The angiogenesis continues, tiny vessels budding. The DNA repair proteins work through the night. The gut bacteria ferment their fibers, producing butyrate, the telomeres, protected by the day's berries, by the pomegranate seeds. They hold steady, they persist. Your immune cells patrol, vigilant, educated by mushroom beta-glucans. Your mitochondria, cleared of dysfunction by urolithin A. They produce clean energy. Your cellular membranes, fluid with omega-3s. They signal properly, respond appropriately. The chronic inflammation, calmed by turmeric, by ginger, by olive oil. It recedes, allowing regeneration to proceed. This is not instant. This is not magical. This is biological. This is real, measurable, reproducible, evidence-based. But it requires patience. It requires consistency. It requires trust in your body's wisdom. The pattern matters more than perfection. The direction matters more than the destination. Each meal, each choice, each day, they accumulate, they compound. Small effects multiplying over time until the body you inhabit is genuinely different, more resilient, more vital, more alive. And now, as you fade completely, as sleep takes you fully, know that your stem cells are working. Your defense systems are active. Your regenerative capacity is real. The bioactives from dinner are circulating, finding their targets, activating their pathways. The fiber is feeding your microbiome. The bacteria are producing their short-chain fatty acids. The fatty acids are strengthening your gut barrier. The barrier is calming your immune system. The immune system is clearing senescent cells. The clearance is making space for fresh tissue. Round and round, cycle after cycle, healing, maintaining, regenerating, all night long as you dream. And tomorrow when you wake, you'll be slightly different, imperceptibly renewed. because tonight your body remembered how to heal itself, guided by ancient foods, activated by simple compounds that have been working this magic for millions of years. The stem cells keep dividing, the blood vessels keep branching, the microbiome keeps fermenting, the DNA keeps repairing, and the healing never stops. Deep in sleep now, so deep. Yet some part of you still listening, still learning, as we drift through more corridors of your biology, more rooms in the mansion of your cellular intelligence. There's a soft glow in the dark. If you could see at this scale, the glow of metabolism, of ATP production, of chemical reactions proceeding in the warm dark of your cytoplasm, every cell a tiny factory, running through the night, maintaining, repairing, preparing for tomorrow. And among these trillion workers, the stem cells stand out, different, undifferentiated, holding potential like water holds its shape, ready to become whatever is needed, wherever they're called. Float now, drift, to fields of soybeans, those green pods hanging heavy, 3 beans inside each one, and when harvested, fermented, pressed, boiled, these beans become many things. Soy milk, that creamy liquid, neither milk nor not milk, a suspension of proteins, fats, carbohydrates from plant cells, and in those proteins, embedded in their structure, are isoflavins, genistein, didzine. These molecules look like estrogen, structurally similar, but weaker, gentler. When you consume soy, these isoflavins circulate. They can bind to estrogen receptors, weakly activating them in some tissues, blocking stronger estrogens in others. This selective action, this nuance, it's why soy can be protective, supporting bone health, moderating hot flashes, potentially reducing certain cancer risks, while not causing the effects of pharmaceutical estrogen. Edamame, those same soybeans, but harvested young, still green, boiled in their pods, sprinkled with salt. They're higher in folate, in fiber, in certain minerals, the texture firm, the flavor sweet and grassy, and beyond the isoflavins, they contain saponins, compounds that bind cholesterol, may support immune function, may have anti-inflammatory effects. Tofu, soybean curds, pressed into blocks, neutral in flavor, absorbing whatever you cook it with. The protein is complete, all essential amino acids, easily digestible, and the calcium, if it's made with calcium sulfate, it's substantial, a significant source, supporting bone density, muscle function, nerve transmission. Tempeh, something different. Whole soybeans fermented with Rhizopus mold, the white mycelium binding the beans into a firm cake. This fermentation, it increases B vitamins, particularly B12 in some preparations. It breaks down anti-nutrients, phytic acid, making minerals more available, and the firm texture, the nutty flavor. It's more substantial than tofu, more complex. Fermentation changes food, always. The microorganisms, they're pre-digesting, breaking down complex molecules, creating new compounds. sometimes B vitamins, sometimes antimicrobial peptides, sometimes just making nutrients more bioavailable, more accessible to your digestive system and your gut, your intestinal tract. It's not just a tube, it's an ecosystem, a rainforest of microbes, bacteria mostly, but also archaea, fungi, viruses, each species occupying its niche, competing for resources, cooperating in complex ways, producing metabolites that influence your entire body. The gut immune axis, that bidirectional highway, your immune cells sample what's in your gut, learn to distinguish food proteins from pathogens, and your gut bacteria, they train your immune system, they teach tolerance, they prevent overreaction. Children raised with pets, exposed to more microbes, they have lower rates of allergies, asthma. Their immune systems learn balance early. Microbiome diversity, that's key. Not just having bacteria, but having many different species. Different bacteria process different fibers, produce different metabolites, provide different benefits. A diverse diet creates a diverse microbiome, and diversity correlates with health, with metabolic function, with immune resilience, with longevity. In studies of centenarians, people who live past 100, their microbiomes are distinct, different from younger elderly, more diverse in some ways, enriched in species that produce anti-inflammatory compounds that support gut barrier function, that metabolize plant compounds efficiently. Your microbiome, it's responsive. Feed it processed foods, sugars, and certain species thrive. Species that promote inflammation, that damage the gut barrier, that signal to your body in harmful ways. Feed it fiber, polyphenols, fermented foods, and different species bloom. Beneficial species, protective species, species that support health and longevity. Let yourself sink even deeper now, past thought, past visualization, just sensation, just being, as we visit the process of homeostasis. Homeostasis, that's balance, equilibrium, not static, but dynamic, like a tightrope walker, constantly adjusting, correcting, maintaining stability through tiny movements. Your body temperature, your blood pH, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, all held within narrow ranges, despite constant challenges, despite changing conditions. Stem cells participate in this balance. When red blood cells age, become less efficient, they're removed by your spleen, and your bone marrow, sensing the decrease, increases production. Hematopoietic stem cells divide, differentiate into red blood cell precursors, replace what was lost. The total remains constant, but the individual cells, they're constantly renewed. Your blood, completely replaced every few months. This is tissue regeneration, continuous, ongoing, not just after injury, but constantly. Your intestinal lining, the cells facing your gut lumen, they last 3 to 5 days, then they're shed, replaced by new cells dividing from stem cells in the crypts. little pockets at the base of intestinal villi. Those stem cells, intestinal stem cells, they're among the most active in your body, dividing frequently, replenishing constantly. Your skin, the outer layer, the epidermis, completely renewed every 28 days or so. Cells born in the basal layer, the deepest part, slowly pushed up, maturing, flattening, finally dying, becoming the tough outer layer that protects you, then flaking off, and new cells, always new cells, rising to take their place. Your bones seem solid, permanent, but they're not. They're constantly remodeling. Osteoclasts, bone-dissolving cells, they break down old bone, create tiny cavities, and osteoblasts, bone-building cells derived from mesenchymal stem cells. They fill these cavities with new bone matrix. This remodeling, it allows bones to adapt to stress, to repair microfractures, to maintain strength despite decades of use. Without vitamin K2, without vitamin D, without adequate calcium and magnesium, this process falters, bone density decreases, fracture risk increases. But with proper nutrition, with weight-bearing exercise, with the bioactives we've discussed, bone health can be maintained, even improved, throughout life. Wound healing, that's regeneration at its most visible. Cut your skin, and immediately blood clots form, platelets aggregate, creating a temporary seal. Then inflammation, immune cells flooding the area, clearing debris, preventing infection. Then proliferation, fibroblasts migrating in, laying down collagen, new blood vessels sprouting, granulation tissue forming, finally remodeling, the scar tissue reorganizing, becoming more organized, stronger, though never quite as perfect as original skin. Each phase, orchestrated by signals, growth factors, cytokines, cells communicating, coordinating, and stem cells, particularly in younger wounds, in healthier individuals. They contribute. They differentiate into the needed cell types. They secrete factors that support healing. They improve outcomes. Cardiovascular health, the health of your heart and blood vessels, depends fundamentally on these regenerative processes. Your endothelium, that single cell lining, it's constantly exposed to stress, to turbulent blood flow, to oxidized LDL, to inflammatory signals, and endothelial cells. They can't divide rapidly to replace damage. They're generally quiescent, not actively dividing. That's where endothelial progenitor cells come in. Those stem-like cells circulating in your blood. When endothelium is damaged, when cells die or dysfunction, these progenitors home to the site, integrate, differentiate, become new functional endothelium. This process, endothelial repair, it's crucial for maintaining vascular health, for preventing atherosclerosis, for recovering from cardiovascular events. The foods that support angiogenesis, berries, green tea, omega-3s, they also support endothelial progenitor cell function. They increase the number circulating, improve their ability to migrate, enhance their differentiation. This is cardiovascular protection at the cellular level through food, and neuroprotection, protecting your brain, your nervous system. This was once thought impossible. The brain was considered fixed, unchanging after development. Neurons you're born with, that's all you get. When they die, they're gone. But this is wrong. Neurogenesis happens throughout life, particularly in the hippocampus, that structure crucial for memory formation. Neural progenitor cells. They persist in specific brain regions, and they divide slowly, producing new neurons that integrate into existing circuits, that participate in learning, in memory consolidation. And this process, neurogenesis, it can be enhanced by exercise, by learning new skills, by certain foods, by omega-3 fatty acids, by flavonoids from berries, by the EGCG in green tea, or it can be suppressed by chronic stress, by inflammation, by sleep deprivation, by poor diet. The choice, to some degree, is yours. The behaviors you choose, the foods you eat, they influence whether your brain maintains its plasticity, its capacity for renewal, or whether it gradually loses these capabilities. Your breath, so slow now, so quiet, barely disturbing the air. And we drift to metabolic health, to the way your body processes energy, metabolism. That's the sum of all chemical reactions in your body, breaking down food into usable energy, building up complex molecules from simple ones, anabolism and catabolism, construction and destruction in constant balance. When metabolism is healthy, when insulin sensitivity is good, when mitochondria are efficient, stem cell function improves, regenerative capacity increases. But when metabolism is disrupted, when insulin resistance develops, when blood sugar is chronically elevated, stem cell function declines. This is well documented. People with diabetes, they have impaired wound healing, reduced angiogenesis, fewer circulating endothelial progenitor cells. Their regenerative capacity is compromised, and this contributes to complications, to neuropathy, to retinopathy, to cardiovascular disease. The anti-inflammatory response, reducing inflammation, that's crucial for metabolic health, for stem cell function, for longevity. Chronic inflammation, even low-grade, it accelerates aging. It promotes insulin resistance. It damages tissues. It exhausts the immune system. The bioactives we've discussed, omega-3s, polyphenols, isothiocyanates, they all reduce inflammation through different mechanisms. Omega-3s reduce inflammatory eicosanoids, polyphenols inhibit NF-κB, isothiocyanates activate NRF2, and together, in combination, they create an anti-inflammatory environment. They support healing. They allow regeneration to proceed unimpeded. This is bioactive synergy. Compounds working together, enhancing each other's effects. Resveratrol and quercetin together, more potent than either alone. Curcumin and piperine, dramatically increased absorption. vitamin C and vitamin E regenerating each other. This is why whole foods outperform isolated supplements. The matrix matters, the context matters, the combinations that evolve together, they work together. Food as medicine. That's not metaphor, that's biochemistry. Every meal, every snack, it's information, it's instruction, telling your genes what to do, telling your cells how to behave. Eat foods rich in bioactives, and your cells receive signals to protect, to repair, to regenerate. Eat processed foods, foods stripped of these compounds, and the signals are absent, confused. Your cells struggle to maintain homeostasis. This is preventative regeneration, supporting your regenerative capacity before disease develops, before damage accumulates. This is investing in your future health, building resilience, creating redundancy, so when challenges come, when injury happens, when illness strikes, your body has the resources to respond, to heal, to recover. Your self-healing mechanisms, they're real, they're powerful, but they need support. They need the right raw materials, the right signaling molecules, the right environmental conditions. You can't heal optimally if you're nutrient deficient, sleep deprived, chronically stressed. But when conditions are favorable, when nutrition is adequate, when lifestyle supports health, these mechanisms can accomplish extraordinary things. Organ repair. Even organs can regenerate to some degree. Your liver, remarkable. It can regenerate from as little as 25% of its original mass. Cells divide, grow, restore function. This is why living liver donation is possible. The donor's liver regrows. The recipient's transplanted portion grows to appropriate size. Hepatocytes, liver cells, they retain the ability to divide, to proliferate, even in adults. Your heart, less so. Cardiac muscle cells, cardiomyocytes, they rarely divide after early childhood. When heart tissue dies from a heart attack, scar tissue forms, not new muscle. But even here, there's some evidence, some controversial evidence, that cardiac stem cells exist, that very limited regeneration may occur, and regardless, supporting the surviving tissue, improving its function through nutrition, through exercise, through bioactives, that's achievable, that's real. Epigenetic influences. This is fascinating, very crucial. Your DNA, your genetic sequence, that's relatively fixed. The genes you inherited, you carry throughout life, but which genes are turned on or off, expressed or silenced, that's dynamic, changeable, influenced by environment, by behavior, by diet. This is epigenetics, changes in gene expression without changes in DNA sequence. Methyl groups added to DNA, histones modified. These chemical changes affect whether genes are accessible, whether they can be transcribed, and these modifications, they're influenced by nutrients, folate, vitamin B12, choline. They provide methyl groups, support healthy methylation patterns, and polyphenols, bioactives. They influence histone modifications. chromatin structure, gene expression. So when you eat berries, when you consume cruciferous vegetables, when you drink green tea, you're not just getting antioxidants, you're influencing gene expression. You're affecting which genetic programs are active or which are silenced. This is how diet influences health at the deepest level, at the level of genetic regulation. And your natural killer cells, those cytotoxic lymphocytes, they patrol your body constantly, looking for infected cells, for cancer cells, for cells that display abnormal proteins on their surface. When found, natural killer cells attach, release perforins and granzymes, create pores in the target cell's membrane, induce apoptosis, programmed cell death. The target cell dies, is broken down, removed, and the natural killer cell moves on, searching for the next threat. Mushroom beta-glucans enhance natural killer cell activity measurably, significantly. This has been demonstrated repeatedly. People who consume mushrooms regularly, shiitake, maitake, they have more active natural killer cells, better immune surveillance, and this may contribute, may partially explain why mushroom consumption correlates with reduced cancer risk in population studies. Longevity pathways, these are genetic programs, signaling cascades that influence lifespan, health span, the period of life spent healthy and functional, SIRT1. One of 7 sirtuin proteins in humans, it's activated by caloric restriction, by resveratrol, by NAD+, and when active, SIRT1 improves DNA repair, reduces inflammation, enhances mitochondrial function, promotes cellular stress resistance, AMPK, AMP-activated protein kinase. It's a cellular energy sensor. When energy is low, when ATP decreases and AMP increases, AMPK activates. It promotes catabolic processes, glucose uptake, fatty acid oxidation, mitochondrial biogenesis. It inhibits anabolic processes, protein synthesis, cholesterol synthesis. This switch from growth to maintenance, it's beneficial for longevity, and AMPK is activated by exercise, by fasting, by metformin, by certain polyphenols like EGCG and quercetin, mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. This is a growth regulator. When nutrients are abundant, when amino acids are plentiful, mTOR is active, promoting protein synthesis, cell growth, cell division. This is necessary for development, for wound healing, for muscle growth after exercise. But chronic mTOR activation, constant nutrient excess that accelerates aging, promotes cancer, reduces lifespan in animal models. The balance matters. Periods of mTOR activation, followed by periods of inhibition. Growth followed by consolidation. Fed state followed by fasted state. This cycling, this rhythm, it appears optimal for health, for longevity. Your breath barely moves now. The air still, as consciousness becomes dreamlike, fractured, and we drift through more corridors, more chambers in this palace of biological intelligence. Sleep itself, this state you're in, or approaching, it's when the deepest healing happens. Growth hormone peaks during deep sleep, stimulating tissue repair, protein synthesis, fat breakdown. Prolactin increases, supporting immune function, and during REM sleep, your brain consolidates memories, prunes unnecessary synapses, maintains neural networks. Sleep deprivation, chronic insufficient sleep. It's devastating to health. It increases inflammation, disrupts metabolism, impairs immune function, reduces stem cell proliferation. Even one night of poor sleep measurably reduces natural killer cell activity, temporarily, but chronic sleep loss that has cumulative effects, accelerated aging, increased disease risk, reduced regenerative capacity. So sleep, deep sleep, restorative sleep, it's not optional, it's not lazy, it's essential. It's when your body does the work of maintaining itself, of repairing damage, of consolidating gains. And the bioactives from your diet, they support sleep. Magnesium relaxes muscles, supports GABA function. Tryptophan converts to serotonin and melatonin. Polyphenols reduce inflammations that might disturb sleep. Everything connects. Everything influences everything else. Your diet affects your microbiome. Your microbiome affects your immune system. Your immune system affects inflammation. Inflammation affects stem cells. Stem cells affect tissue health. Tissue health affects organ function. Organ function affects overall vitality. And vitality affects behavior. Food choices, creating a cycle, either virtuous or vicious. The goal, create a virtuous cycle. Make choices that support health, that enhance function, that activate your innate healing capacity. Not perfectly, not obsessively, but generally, consistently, over time. Small positive choices accumulating, compounding, creating emergent effects greater than their sum. Drift deeper still into half dreams, where science becomes poetry, where molecules become metaphors, where learning dissolves into knowing. The blueberries you ate yesterday, they're anthocyanins, they're circulating right now, binding to endothelial cells, activating genetic programs, telling bone marrow. Send the repair crew. The broccoli from dinner, it's sulforaphane. It's in your cells now, activating NRF2, switching on antioxidant genes, protecting your DNA from damage that would otherwise accumulate. The walnuts, they're omega-3s. They're integrating into cell membranes, making them more fluid, improving signaling, supporting neural function, protecting cardiovascular health. The fermented foods, they're bacteria. Some survived your stomach acid, reached your intestines. They're interacting with your microbiome now, competing with pathogens, producing butyrate, strengthening your gut barrier, calming inflammation. All of this happening without conscious effort, without your intervention. Your body knows what to do with these compounds. It recognizes them, has receptors for them, has metabolic pathways to process them. This recognition, it's ancient, encoded in your DNA, refined over millions of years of evolution, of plants and animals co-evolving, of dietary compounds shaping our biology. You are what you eat, that old saying. It's literally true. The atoms in your body, they came from food. The carbon in your cells, it was recently in plants, fixed from atmospheric CO2 through photosynthesis. The nitrogen in your proteins, it was cycled through soil bacteria, through legumes, through the nitrogen cycle. You're made of food, continuously remade, continuously renewed, and your stem cells, those ultimate shapeshifters, they're at the heart of this renewal. When a red blood cell wears out, is removed, a stem cell divides, differentiates, replaces it. When an intestinal cell is shed, a stem cell in the crypt divides, produces a replacement. When a blood vessel is damaged, endothelial progenitors mobilize, migrate, repair. This capacity, this regenerative potential, you were born with it. Every human has it, to some degree. And while it declines with age, that decline isn't inevitable, isn't uniform. People who maintain healthy lifestyles, who eat nutrient-dense diets rich in bioactives, who exercise regularly, who manage stress, who sleep well, they maintain better regenerative capacity. Their stem cells function better, longer. Their biological age, measured by various markers, can be younger than their chronological age. The science of longevity, it's not about living forever. It's about extending health span, the period of life where you're vital, functional, free from disability and chronic disease. The goal, to compress morbidity, to reduce the years of decline at life's end, to remain healthy and capable until very late in life, then decline rapidly, rather than slowly degrading for decades. And the evidence suggests, strongly suggests, that this is achievable, that diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, social connection, these modifiable lifestyle factors, they influence not just lifespan, but health span. They determine whether you spend your later years vital and engaged, or declining and dependent. The 5 defense systems working in harmony, regeneration, stem cells dividing and differentiating, angiogenesis, new blood vessels forming where needed, restricted where harmful, microbiome, gut bacteria supporting immunity and metabolism, DNA protection, repair mechanisms fixing damage, preventing mutations, immunity, recognizing and eliminating threats, tolerating harmless substances, all 5, communicating, cooperating, creating resilience, and you support these systems, all 5 simultaneously, not through 5 different interventions, but through the same healthy behaviors, the same nutrient-dense diet, the same regular exercise, the same adequate sleep. These fundamentals, they support all systems. They create the conditions for optimal function. Floating now, barely tethered to waking, thoughts becoming liquid, boundaries dissolving, the science fading into sensation, into the felt sense of your body healing itself. Can you feel it if you attend closely? The warmth of metabolism, the the gentle pulsing of blood, the soft rise and fall of breath. All of this automatic activity. It's your body maintaining itself, healing itself, regenerating itself. Trillions of reactions per second in every cell. Proteins folding, enzymes catalyzing, signals transmitting, membranes maintaining gradients, pumps moving ions, energy flowing through electron transport chains, ATP being generated, consumed, regenerated. This is you, this biological marvel, this soft machine of flesh and chemistry, capable of self-repair, of self-regulation, of adaptation and growth. And the foods you eat, they're part of this. They provide not just calories, not just building blocks, but information, instruction, activation signals. The pomegranate seeds you scattered on your salad, they're ellagic acid. It's protecting your telomeres right now, slowing the molecular clock. The dark chocolate you had as a treat, its flavonols, they're improving blood flow to your brain right now. The green tea from this morning, it's EGCG. It's modulating angiogenesis throughout your body right now. Time becomes strange when you think at this scale. A meal from yesterday still having effects today. Foods from last week influencing this week's cellular function. The pattern of years, of decades, shaping your biology, your health trajectory, your aging process, but also the immediate, the next meal, the next day, the next week. All opportunities, all moments where you can support or undermine your body's regenerative capacity. No single meal determines your fate, but the pattern, the accumulated choices, those shape everything. And your stem cells keep dividing. The darkness of bone marrow, in the niches where they hide. Some remain, maintaining the pool, self-renewing. Others differentiate, commit to a lineage, leave the niche, enter circulation, travel to tissues that need them, transform into what's required. A macrophage, a red blood cell, an osteoblast, a neuron. Whatever the body calls for, they become. This plasticity, this flexibility, it's reduced but not eliminated by age. A 70-year-old's stem cells are less vigorous than a 20-year-old's. True, but they still function, still respond, still regenerate, and their function can be supported, enhanced, through the same interventions we've discussed. Nutrient-dense diet, regular movement, adequate rest. The decline of aging, it's not a cliff, not a switch flipping. It's a gradual slope, and the angle of that slope, the rate of decline, that's modifiable, that's under your influence, not complete control, not prevention of all decline, but influence, meaningful influence. Let go even more now. Release the need to understand, to remember. Just drift, just float, just be. The learning continues below consciousness, seeds planted that will sprout later when needed. Your body knows, it remembers. Even if your conscious mind forgets the detail, the mechanisms, the names of molecules, your body will respond to the foods, to the patterns, to the behaviors that support it. Intelligence doesn't require consciousness. Your cells are intelligent. Your systems are intelligent. Your body has been solving problems, adapting to challenges, maintaining balance for your entire life without your conscious direction. This continues, always, in the background, in the autonomic processes you never notice. And the greatest wisdom might be to trust this intelligence, to support it, to provide what it needs, then step back, allow, let the body do what it knows how to do. Let the stem cells respond to their signals. Let the immune system distinguish friend from foe. Let the gut bacteria ferment their fibers. Let the blood vessels dilate and constrict as needed. Let the repair happen. You don't need to micromanage. You can't micromanage at the cellular level, but you can create conditions, provide resources, remove obstacles, then trust, allow, rest in the knowledge that healing is happening, regeneration is proceeding, renewal is continuous, and as you sink into the deepest dark, the most complete surrender, one more whisper, one more thread of science becoming dream, bone marrow mobilization. That's when stem cells leave their niches, enter bloodstream in increased numbers. This happens naturally after injury, after tissue damage, but it can also be stimulated by certain foods, by exercise, by hypoxia, the body sensing need, responding, sending repair crews. When you eat a large serving of berries, anthocyanin-rich berries, stem cell mobilization increases measurably within hours. The anthocyanins circulating, they signal somehow. More stem cells needed, and the bone marrow responds, releasing them, perhaps through a VEGF, perhaps through SDF1, the exact mechanism still being studied, but the effect is real, reproducible, meaningful. This is actionable. This is something you can do. Eat berries regularly, and you increase stem cell availability. You enhance your regenerative capacity through food, through simple, delicious food. Cellular senescence. When cells stop dividing, become dysfunctional, but refuse to die. They're called zombie cells, lingering, secreting inflammatory factors, damaging neighboring healthy cells, accelerating aging, promoting disease. But your immune system, when functioning well, it clears senescent cells, eliminates them. Natural killer cells recognize them, attack them, and certain foods, certain bioactives, they may enhance this process. Quercetin and dasatinib together, shown to clear senescent cells in animal studies. Quercetin is in onions, in apples, in many plants. Dasatinib is a drug, but the principle, the possibility of senolytics from food, it's being explored. Fisetin, another flavonoid, from strawberries, from apples, from cucumbers. It may have senolytic properties too, clearing old cells, making space for new ones, for fresh tissue, for regeneration. The research is early, preliminary, but promising. suggesting that foods might support this crucial process of cellular quality control. DNA repair, happening constantly, right now, in every cell. Ultraviolet light damages DNA. Oxidative stress damages DNA. Normal metabolic processes damage DNA. But your cells have elaborate repair systems, multiple pathways, different mechanisms for different types of damage. Base excision repair, nucleotide excision repair, mismatch repair, double-strand break repair, all working continuously, fixing errors, preventing mutations. And these repair systems, they need resources. They need NAD+, that crucial coenzyme. They need energy, ATP. They need minerals, zinc, magnesium. They need the right nutrients. When well supplied, repair is efficient, accurate. But when depleted, when stressed, when nutrient deficient, repair falters. Errors accumulate. Mutation rates increase. This is another way diet influences longevity. Through DNA protection, through supporting repair mechanisms, through reducing the damage burden, through providing the raw materials needed for genomic maintenance. Telomere protection, those molecular caps on chromosome ends. They shorten with each cell division. This is the mitotic clock, the Hayflick limit. After 50 to 70 divisions, telomeres become critically short. Cells enter senescence or apoptosis. This limits how many times cells can divide, prevents unlimited proliferation, prevents cancer in one sense, but also limits regenerative capacity. Telomerase. That's the enzyme that can extend telomeres, add back the repetitive sequences. Normally it's silenced in most adult cells, but in stem cells, telomerase remains active. This is how stem cells maintain their proliferative capacity, how they can keep dividing without hitting the Hayflick limit. And certain bioactives, certain lifestyle factors, they influence telomere length, chronic stress, inflammation, oxidative damage. They accelerate telomere shortening. But exercise, meditation, omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants from plants, they slow telomere loss, preserve length, the ellagic acid we discussed, the omega-3s, the polyphenols, all protective. Your breathing, so shallow now, so soft, like a whisper, barely moving, and your heart, slow, steady, thump, pause, thump, pause, each beat pushing blood through your vessels, past your tissues, delivering oxygen, collecting waste, maintaining flow, and in that blood, stem cells circulating, endothelial progenitors looking for damaged vessels, hematopoietic cells ready to differentiate if needed, immune cells patrolling, surveilling, protecting, all of this, coordinated, automatic, intelligent. The immune system modulation we've discussed, it's not about boosting immunity. That's a misleading concept. Too much immune activity. That's autoimmunity, allergies, inflammatory disease. Not enough. That's immunodeficiency, susceptibility to infection. The goal is balance, appropriate responses, strong reaction to real threats, tolerance of harmless substances, efficient resolution of inflammation after the threat is cleared. And the foods, the bioactives, they support this balance. They don't blindly boost or suppress. They modulate. They help the immune system function optimally, respond appropriately, maintain equilibrium. Almost gone now, almost fully asleep. Just the faintest thread of awareness, floating in dark, in warmth, in safety. And in this place, this threshold between wake and sleep, the body does its deepest healing work. Growth hormone released, tissues repairing, memories consolidating, emotional processing happening, cellular housekeeping proceeding, toxins being cleared, waste being removed. Sleep is active, not passive. It's when your glymphatic system, the brain's waste clearance system, is most active, clearing metabolic waste, clearing misfolded proteins, reducing the burden of accumulation. This is partly why sleep is so crucial for cognitive health, for preventing neurodegenerative disease, and it's why sleep deprivation is so harmful. Not just the tiredness, not just the impaired performance, but the lost opportunity for repair, for regeneration, for maintenance. Like skipping oil changes in a car, eventually damage accumulates, systems fail, but when you sleep well, deeply, regularly, your body maintains itself, your stem cells function better, your immune system operates optimally, your brain clears its waste, your metabolism stays balanced. Everything works better when sleep is adequate. Darkness, so complete. Silence, so total. Just the biological hum, the quiet industry of life maintaining itself. Your mesenchymal stem cells bloom in secret. Your hematopoietic gardens grow without light. Your endothelial progenitors float, seeking, finding. Your gut bacteria feast on yesterday's fiber. Your immune cells remember today's lessons. Your DNA repairs its daily damage. Your telomeres, as protected as they can be, persist. All of this, gift of biology, gift of evolution, gift of the ancient bargain between plants and animals. I eat you, but you give me life. I consume you, but you heal me. Your molecules become my molecules. Your information becomes my health. And there's nothing more to do, nothing to achieve, nothing to force. Just rest, just allow, just surrender to the process. The body knows, the cells remember, the stem cells wake when called. Tomorrow morning, when you rise, you'll be minutely different, imperceptibly renewed. Billions of new cells replacing old, repairs completed, damage cleared, ready for another day. But for now, just this, the dark, the soft, the deep, the dark breathing, the silence humming, and you, barely here, mostly gone, dissolved into rest, into repair, into the continuous miracle of cellular renewal. If there's still a fragment of awareness, floating like a seed on dark water, let it drift now through the final chambers, the last whispered secrets of regeneration. The body as garden, that's perhaps the truest metaphor. Not a machine with parts, but an ecosystem, alive, responsive, constantly growing, dying back, regrowing. Your gut microbiome, literal garden, trillions of organisms cultivated by what you feed them, and your stem cell niches, microscopic gardens where potential waits, dormant until conditions ripen, then blooming, differentiating, becoming prebiotics. Those are the fertilizers for your gut garden, the fibers your enzymes can't break down. Inulin, fructooligosaccharides, galactooligosaccharides. They pass through your small intestine undigested, reach your colon, where bacteria ferment them, feast on them, and in feasting, bacteria multiply, produce metabolites, short-chain fatty acids, gases, vitamins, Jerusalem artichokes, chicory root, garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, all rich in prebiotics, all feeding beneficial species, particularly Bifidobacterium lactobacillus. And these bacteria, when well fed, they crowd out pathogens, occupy the ecological niches, produce antimicrobial compounds, maintain the garden's health. Your gut immune axis, that intimate connection. 70% of immune cells residing in gut-associated lymphoid tissue, Peyer's patches in your small intestine, lymphoid follicles throughout, all sampling what passes through, learning, discriminating, deciding responses. When your gut barrier is strong, when tight junctions between intestinal cells are intact, when the mucus layer is thick, only nutrients pass through. Bacteria and food proteins stay in the gut lumen, separated from immune cells. This is tolerance. This is homeostasis. But when the barrier weakens, when tight junctions open, when inflammation damages the lining, bacterial products leak through, lipopolysaccharides, peptidoglycans. They trigger immune responses, systemic inflammation. This is leaky gut, intestinal permeability, and it's linked to so many conditions: autoimmunity, allergies, metabolic disease, mental health issues. The foods that heal the barrier: omega-3s, polyphenols, fiber that produces butyrate, zinc, vitamin D, glutamine. These support enterocyte health, strengthen tight junctions, feed colonocytes, reduce inflammation, restore the barrier, and systemic inflammation calms. Immune function normalizes, health improves, often dramatically. Float deeper, sensation dimming, just echoes of thought, whispers of science becoming feeling, hypoxia-inducible factor. HIF. We touched on this, but it deserves more, because this is how your body senses oxygen at the cellular level. When oxygen is adequate, HIF is broken down, inactive. But when oxygen drops, even slightly, HIF stabilizes, accumulates, travels to the nucleus, binds to DNA, activates hundreds of genes. These genes, they increase red blood cell production, stimulate angiogenesis, alter metabolism to work better in low oxygen, mobilize stem cells. This is adaptation. This is resilience, and you can trigger it gently, beneficially. through exercise, which temporarily creates local hypoxia in muscles, through breath-holding practices, which create brief systemic hypoxia, through high-altitude exposure, real or simulated. Athletes use this altitude training, sleeping in hypoxic tents. It increases their red blood cell count, improves oxygen delivery, enhances endurance, but the same mechanisms. They're available to everyone. Any sustained exercise creates the signal, tells your body, we need better oxygen delivery, and HIF responds, activates, mobilizes stem cells from bone marrow, increases circulating progenitors, SDF1 signaling, stromal-derived factor 1. This is the call, the chemical beacon that stem cells follow. When tissue is damaged, when blood vessels need repair, when organs are stressed, cells in those tissues release SDF1. It diffuses, creates a gradient, a trail to follow. Stem cells have receptors, CXCR4, that bind SDF1. And this binding, it's directional. Stem cells sense where SDF1 is strongest, follow the gradient, migrate toward the source. This is chemotaxis, cellular navigation, how stem cells find their destination, how they know where they're needed. Exercise increases SDF1 expression, hypoxia increases it. Certain bioactives modulate it. The system is elegant, self-organizing. When damage occurs, the damaged tissue calls for help, and help arrives. Stem cells mobilizing from bone marrow, traveling through blood, homing to the signal, arriving to repair. VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, the master of angiogenesis. We've mentioned it many times, but its importance can't be overstated. Every tissue needs blood supply. Without blood vessels, without capillaries bringing oxygen and nutrients, cells die. Tissue dies. VEGF is how new vessels form, how tissue ensures its own survival. During development, VEGF creates the vascular system, guides vessel branching, ensures every tissue gets perfused. In adults, VEGF maintains vessels, promotes repair, stimulates growth when needed. In wound healing, VEGF levels spike, new vessels sprout, growing into the healing tissue. In exercise, muscles producing VEGF, becoming more vascular, more capable. But in cancer, tumor cells hijack VEGF, stimulate excessive angiogenesis, growing their own blood supply. This is why VEGF is complicated, why balance matters. Healthy angiogenesis, supported by berryanthocyanins, by green tea, EGCG, that's beneficial. But excessive, uncontrolled angiogenesis, that can be harmful. The body knows the difference, usually. Food-based bioactives support the wisdom, the discrimination, the appropriate response, barely present now. Thought fragmenting, dissolving, as we visit the concept of time. Biological time, not clock time. Your chronological age, how many years you've lived. That's fixed, undeniable. But your biological age, the functional state of your cells, your tissues, your systems, that's variable. Two people, both 50 years old chronologically, might have biological ages of 40 and 60, depending on lifestyle, genetics, luck. Biological age can be measured, estimated, through various markers. Telomere length, one marker. Epigenetic clocks, DNA methylation patterns that correlate with age. Inflammatory markers, oxidative stress markers. Physical function tests, grip strength, walking speed, balance, all correlate with biological age, with remaining health span. And here's what matters. Biological age is modifiable, more modifiable than once thought. The lifestyle interventions we've discussed, nutrient-dense diet rich in bioactives, regular exercise, adequate sleep, stress management, social connection. These don't just slow biological aging. In some cases, they reverse markers. Telomeres lengthen, epigenetic age decreases, function improves. This isn't immortality, isn't prevention of death, but it's life extension, health span extension, more years feeling good, functioning well, remaining independent. This is the goal, the achievable goal, the goal worth pursuing. Sensation retreating further, awareness dimming, like stars fading at dawn, but inverted, stars fading into deepest night, homeostasis, that balance we discussed. It's maintained through feedback loops. Your blood sugar rises after eating. Pancreas detects this, releases insulin, cells take up glucose. Blood sugar falls, pancreas reduces insulin, balance restored. This is negative feedback, the system regulating itself, maintaining stability. But systems can fail. Chronic high blood sugar from too much food, too often. Pancreas constantly releasing insulin, cells become resistant, stop responding as well. Pancreas releases more insulin to compensate. Eventually, exhaustion. Cells remain resistant, pancreas can't keep up. Blood sugar stays elevated. This is type 2 diabetes, a failure of homeostasis, a broken feedback loop. But even here, even after diagnosis, the system can recover, can restore function. Weight loss, dietary changes, exercise, they improve insulin sensitivity, reduce demand on the pancreas, allow it to recover. The feedback loop can be repaired, homeostasis can be restored, not always completely, not always easily, but often, meaningfully. This is the resilience of biological systems, the capacity for recovery, for adaptation, for healing. It's not unlimited, not guaranteed, but it's substantial, present throughout life, waiting to be activated, supported, allowed. Your jaw completely slack now, your tongue heavy, your eyelids sealed, every muscle released, only the essential functions continuing, heart beating, lungs breathing, cells metabolizing, stem cells dividing, all automatic, all autonomous, all intelligent. Let the last whispers of learning wash over you. No need to hold, no need to remember. Just allow the information to settle, like sediment in still water, eventually becoming part of the bedrock, part of your implicit understanding. Salmon swimming upstream, struggling against current to spawn and die. They're full of omega-3 fatty acids, built from cold water, from specific algae, from krill that ate the algae. The omega-3s concentrate up the food chain, and when you eat salmon, you receive this gift, this molecular memory of cold seas, of ancient food webs, of billions of years of evolution creating these perfect fats, these perfect signaling molecules for your cell membranes, your brain, your heart. Wild versus farmed. It matters. Wild salmon eat natural diet, accumulate astaxanthin from their food. That's the pink colour. That's a powerful antioxidant. They're leaner, more omega-3 rich. Farmed salmon, fed processed feed. They're fattier, less omega-3 concentrated, different quality. Still beneficial, still worth eating, but different. Sardines, mackerel, small fish, lower on the food chain. They accumulate less mercury, less persistent pollutants, more sustainable, more affordable, often overlooked, but nutritionally excellent, rich in omega-3s, in selenium, in vitamin D, in calcium if you eat the bones, anchovies and Caesar dressing, in puttanesca sauce, in pasta. They dissolve, disappear, just leaving umami, richness, depth. But they're there, contributing omega-3s, contributing selenium. Even in small amounts, even hidden, they provide benefit. This is how traditional cuisines worked, incorporating nutrient-dense foods in ways that tasted good, that people would actually eat repeatedly, creating patterns, creating health through pleasure, through culture. Food shouldn't be medicine in the sense of being unpleasant, forced, eaten only for health. It should be delicious, enjoyable, part of life's pleasure, and it can be both delicious and healthful, both pleasurable and medicinal. This is not contradiction. This is the wisdom of traditional diets, of cuisines evolved over generations. They selected for what worked, what sustained health, but also what people enjoyed, wanted to eat, would continue eating. The berries. We keep returning to berries and neem because they're perfect, beautiful, delicious, accessible, affordable, and so powerful. Anthocyanins, ellagic acid, fiber, vitamin C, all in these small colourful packages. Evolution created them as bird food, bright colours attracting birds, seeds passing through undigested, being deposited elsewhere, plant reproduction. But in creating attractive bird food, plants created human medicine, created bioactives that speak to our biology, that activate our healing systems. This is the covenant, the ancient agreement. Plants produce compounds to protect themselves, to attract pollinators, to compete with other plants and animals, including us. We consume these compounds, and they benefit us. They weren't designed for us, but they work in us because we co-evolved, because we've been eating plants for millions of years, because our biology adapted to use their chemistry, sinking through layers of consciousness, through stages of sleep, heading toward the deepest dark, the delta waves, the slow wave sleep a healing peaks. Mushrooms growing on dead wood, extracting nutrients from decay. Fungi are decomposers, nature's recyclers. They break down complex molecules, return them to simpler forms, close the loop. And when you eat mushrooms, you consume this complexity, these bioactive polysaccharides, these strange compounds that your body can't make but can use, can benefit from. Beta-glucans don't exist in human biology. They're plant cell wall components, fungal cell wall components. When your immune cells encounter them, they recognize them as foreign, as potential threat, but they also recognize them as familiar, as something encountered before. This recognition, this training, it's beneficial. It keeps immune cells alert, responsive, without causing inflammation, without causing harm. This is hormesis, beneficial stress. Exercise is hormetic, causes temporary damage, triggers adaptation, makes you stronger. Fasting is hormetic, temporary scarcity, triggers maintenance programs, improves function. Phytochemicals can be hormetic too. Plants produce them as pesticides, as antifungals, mildly toxic to would-be predators. But in small doses, in the amounts we consume when eating plants, they trigger our stress response pathways. NRF2, heat shock proteins. Our cells become more resilient, more resistant to real threats. Almost completely gone now. Just the faintest flicker, like a candle in a distant window. Your stem cells in their niches, in the bone marrow, along blood vessels, in the gut crypts, in hair follicles, in various organs. They're all there, all waiting, all ready to respond when called. This is your regenerative reserve, your healing potential, and it's substantial, present throughout life, declining with age. Yes, but never disappearing completely, never zero, always some capacity, some potential, some possibility. The question is, will you support it? Will you provide the nutrients, the signals, the conditions that allow optimal function, or will you undermine it through poor diet, through chronic inflammation, through metabolic disease, through stress and sleep deprivation? The choice, to the extent you have choice, to the extent life allows. The choice is continuous, daily, every meal, every movement, every sleep, every choice either supporting or undermining, building or depleting, enhancing or impairing. No single choice determines everything, no single meal, no single day, but the pattern, the trajectory, the accumulated effects over weeks and months and years. These determine your health, your vitality, your biological age, your regenerative capacity. And it's not about perfection. Never about perfection. Perfection is impossible, unsustainable, stress-inducing, which defeats the purpose. It's about general direction, about being more right than wrong, about doing better today than yesterday, about consistency without rigidity, about progress without obsession. Eat berries most days, not every day. Include vegetables most meals, Not every meal. Move your body regularly, not constantly. Sleep well most nights. Accept some nights will be poor. Manage stress when you can. Accept you can't always. This is sustainable. This is livable. This is a pattern you can maintain for years, for decades, and maintained over time. These modest, consistent choices, they create profound effects. They shape your biology, your health span, your future self. Total surrender now. Complete letting go. The body fully in charge. Consciousness extinguished. Just biology remaining. Pure process. Pure function. Pure healing. In the darkness of your bone marrow, stem cells divide. One remains stem cell, maintains the pool. The other differentiates, begins the journey toward becoming a specific cell type. This is asymmetric division. One gives rise to two different fates. This is how stem cell pools are maintained while still producing differentiated cells. Mathematical precision, biological elegance. The cell that differentiates, it receives signals, chemical instructions, telling it which path to take. Become red blood cell, become neutrophil, become megakaryocyte that fragments into platelets. The signals guide, the cell responds, commits, transforms, gradually losing potential, gaining specificity, becoming one thing fully, rather than many things potentially, and this is life's pattern. Potential narrowing into actuality, possibility becoming reality, the fertilized egg, totipotent, capable of becoming anything, any cell type, any tissue. But as development proceeds, potential narrows, cells commit, specialize, become teeth or neurons or muscle, losing the option to become other things, gaining the ability to perform specific functions excellently. But stem cells retain that earlier state, that broader potential. They remain less committed, more flexible, ready to become what's needed when it's needed. This is their power, their unique capability. And as you drift even deeper, beyond dreams now, beyond imagery, just the pure void, the healing darkness, know that this process continues all night, every night, as long as you live. Your body regenerating, repairing, maintaining itself. The foods you ate today, they're being broken down now, in your stomach, your intestines. Amino acids absorbed, fatty acids, glucose, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, all crossing intestinal barriers, entering blood, traveling to liver, being processed, distributed, sent to cells throughout your body. Your liver, that great chemical plant, it's transforming nutrients, storing some, converting others, packaging them for delivery, and it's detoxifying, breaking down toxins, drugs, alcohol if you consumed it, metabolic waste products, converting them to water-soluble forms, sending them to kidneys for excretion. This is continuous, automatic, essential. Your liver regenerating even as it works, new hepatocytes forming, replacing old ones, the organ maintaining itself while maintaining you, your kidneys, filtering blood, removing waste, balancing electrolytes, conserving what should stay, excreting what should go, producing urine, regulating blood pressure through renin, producing erythropoietin that signals bone marrow to make more red blood cells when needed, complex organs, underappreciated, working quietly, constantly, keeping your internal environment stable, and your heart, that muscular pump, beating 70 times per minute, about 100,000 times per day, over 2.5 billion times in a lifetime, never resting, never stopping. Cardiac muscle cells, cardiomyocytes, they're among the longest-lived cells in your body. Most formed during development and early childhood, lasting your entire life, gradually being replaced, very slowly, perhaps 1% per year, enough to maintain function, not enough to fully regenerate after major damage. This is why heart health is crucial, why prevention matters more than treatment. Your heart can't regenerate the way your liver or skin can. Damage persists, scars remain. Function may recover partially, through surviving tissue compensating, through medication supporting, but not through regeneration, not through new muscle replacing dead muscle. So protect your heart through diet, through exercise, through stress management, through all the mechanisms we've discussed. Support your endothelium, reduce inflammation, maintain healthy blood pressure and lipids, keep coronary arteries clear, flexible, responsive. This is investment in your future, in your quality of life, in your lifespan and health span, floating in the void, timeless, weightless, boundaryless, just existence, just being. If some quantum of awareness remains, let it rest on this final knowing: you are a biological miracle, a collection of trillions of cells cooperating with exquisite precision. Each cell descended from that first cell, the fertilized egg, through countless divisions, each carrying the same DNA, but expressing different genes, becoming different things, performing different functions, yet all working together, all part of the whole, all you. And within this collection, within this community of cells, stem cells persist, your most precious cells, your regenerative capacity made manifest. They're there now, in your marrow, in your tissues, waiting, ready, capable of becoming whatever you need, whenever you need it. They don't need your conscious direction. They respond to signals, to damage, to normal turnover. They know their function. They perform it continuously, but they need your support. They need nutrients. They need signals from healthy foods. They need low inflammation. They need metabolic health. They need adequate sleep. They need everything we've discussed. Everything that creates the conditions for optimal cellular function. And you've provided that support today through the foods you chose, through resting now, through learning about these processes, through caring about your health, your vitality, your future self. This care, this attention, it matters. It changes outcomes. It influences trajectory. It activates healing. The body responds to being cared for, not through mysticism, not through wishful thinking, but through biology, through providing what's needed, through removing obstacles, through creating conditions where healing can proceed, where stem cells can function, where regeneration can happen, where homeostasis can be maintained. Complete dissolution now. No more words needed, no more learning, just rest, just healing, just the automatic biological processes that sustain life, that create health, that generate tomorrow from the raw materials of today. Your mesenchymal stem cells dividing in the dark, your hematopoietic lineages branching into immune function, your endothelial progenitors floating, seeking damaged vessels, your neural progenitors in hippocampus slowly dividing, slowly creating, your intestinal stem cells in their crypts rapidly dividing, constantly renewing, your satellite cells in muscle waiting for injury or exercise, ready to repair or strengthen. All of this happening now has happened every night of your life, will happen every night remaining. This is not special. This is not unusual. This is normal. This is biology. This is life sustaining itself, and the foods, the humble foods, berries and leafy greens, fatty fish and nuts, mushrooms and fermented vegetables, olive oil and dark chocolate, green tea and coffee, tomatoes and cruciferous vegetables, legumes and whole grains. They don't work magic. They work biology. They provide signals, nutrients, activators. They support what your body already knows how to do. They remove obstacles, reduce interference, clear the channels, so healing can proceed unimpeded, so regeneration can function optimally, so stem cells can respond appropriately. This is food as medicine, not metaphor, reality. Every meal an intervention, gentle but real. Every pattern a treatment, sustained and effective. Every day an opportunity to support or neglect. Every choice a vote for the future you'll inhabit, but not tonight. Tonight no choice is needed, no effort, no striving, no doing, just being, just resting, just healing, the body doing what it does best. When you get out of the way, when you provide what it needs, then step back, allow. The stem cells bloom in silent darkness. The DNA repairs letter by letter. The telomeres hold their ground. The microbiome ferments its feast. The immune cells patrol and protect. The blood vessels dilate and constrict. The heart beats its eternal rhythm. The breath flows in and out, in and out. All of this, gift of life, gift of evolution, gift of billions of years, of trial and error, of survival and adaptation, of optimization. You inherit this biological wisdom, this capacity, this resilience, this healing potential. And tomorrow when you wake, when consciousness returns, when awareness rekindles, you'll be different, renewed, regenerated, not dramatically, not miraculously, but truly, measurably, at the cellular level where it matters. millions of new cells replacing old, damaged proteins cleared and replaced, senescent cells removed, making space for fresh tissue, stem cells having divided and differentiated, repairs completed, maintenance performed. The body one day older chronologically, but perhaps not biologically, perhaps even younger. If the support was adequate, if conditions were right, this is the possibility, the potential, the hope. Not immortality, not perfection, but improvement, not prevention of all decline, but slowing, perhaps reversing, not escape from death, but extension of life, of health span, of vitality. Deep in the marrow, the stem cells rest now, their division complete, their work for tonight done. Some have left their niches, entered circulation, found their destinations. Others remain, maintaining the pool, ready for tomorrow's needs. The balance maintained, the potential preserved, the regenerative capacity sustained for another day, and your blood, slowly circulating, carries the evidence. Fresh red blood cells, brand new, just born, starting their 4-month lifespan. Young white blood cells, newly differentiated, joining the immune patrol. Endothelial progenitors, having repaired their vessel, integrating into the wall. All of this invisible to you, unfelt, unnoticed, but real, but happening, but essential. Let the last whisper carry you deeper still, past all thought, all awareness, all sensation, into pure rest, pure healing, pure biological process. The anthocyanins from berries, still circulating, still signaling. The omega-3s from fish, integrated into membranes, still protecting. The sulforaphane from broccoli, having activated NRF2, its work continuing. The curcumin from turmeric, reducing NF-κB, calming inflammation. The EGCG from green tea, modulating angiogenesis, supporting endothelium. The resveratrol from grapes, activating sirtuins, supporting DNA repair. The beta-glucans from mushrooms, training immune cells, enhancing surveillance. The butyrate from fermented fiber, feeding colonocytes, strengthening barriers. All of these compounds working in concert, in synergy, creating effects greater than their sum, supporting all 5 defense systems: regeneration, angiogenesis, microbiome, DNA protection, immunity, all enhanced, all optimized, all functioning better because of food, because of choices made, patterns maintained, care taken, and now, at the deepest point, at the nadir of the night, growth hormone peaks, flooding your system, telling tissues to repair, to build, to strengthen, telling muscles to synthesize protein, to recover from today's use, telling bones to remodel, to maintain density, telling organs to regenerate, to restore function. This happens every night, in deep sleep, in stage 3 and 4, the slow wave sleep, the delta waves, the deepest rest. This is when healing peaks, when growth occurs, when repair is prioritized. Your body shifting resources from daily function to maintenance, from consciousness to regeneration, from movement to healing. This is why sleep matters so profoundly. This is why sleep deprivation is so harmful. Not just the tiredness, not just the impairment, but the lost opportunity, the missed window, the foregone healing. Night after night, the deficit accumulates, the damage persists, the regenerative capacity declines, the biological age increases. But when sleep is adequate, when depth is achieved, when duration is sufficient, then healing happens, regeneration proceeds, maintenance completes, the body restores itself, prepares for tomorrow, maintains its vitality. Nothing left to learn now, nothing left to understand, just the pure experience of healing, of rest, of biological renewal, just the body doing what it's done since you were born, what it will do until you die, maintaining, repairing, regenerating, keeping you alive, keeping you functional, keeping you you. The body keeps healing. Quiet stem cells bloom within, blood cells born and die and are replaced, vessel walls repaired by floating progenitors, gut lining renewed every few days, skin cycling through its month-long replacement, bones remodeling to maintain their strength, liver regenerating even as it detoxifies. All of this, continuous, automatic, intelligent, your body knowing what to do, doing it without instruction. 50 trillion cells cooperating, coordinating, communicating, creating you, maintaining you, sustaining you through metabolism and signaling and genetic expression, through stem cells and differentiation and tissue renewal, through the ancient machinery of biological life. And the foods that support this, these humble foods, they're gifts from plants and animals and fungi and bacteria, from evolution's long experiment, from deep time's accumulated wisdom. Their molecules speaking to your molecules, their information becoming your health. This partnership, this ancient symbiosis, this mutual dependence. You eat them, they heal you. Together you persist, together you thrive. No supplement replicates this. No pill captures the complexity, the synergies, the matrix, the whole food in its completeness. This is why we return to food, to meals, to the simple act of eating well. Not because it's easy, not because it's trendy, but because it works, because biology responds, because health improves, because healing happens. Total darkness now, complete surrender, no awareness, no thought, no sensation, just biological process, just cellular function, just life sustaining itself. And in this void, in this healing dark, your stem cells have done their work. They've divided when needed, differentiated where called, mobilized in response to signals. They've maintained tissue, repaired damage, replaced what was lost. They've kept you, despite constant molecular turnover, despite cellular death and renewal. This continuity through change, this persistence through flux, this is the paradox of life, the mystery of identity. You're not the same molecules you were 7 years ago. 10 years ago. Every atom has been replaced, every protein rebuilt, every membrane renewed, yet you remain continuous, coherent, yourself. Because the pattern persists, the organization continues, the information in your DNA expressed through your cells, creating structures that maintain themselves, that repair themselves, that replace themselves, while retaining form, function, memory, identity. This is you, this process, this pattern, this organized complexity. And stem cells are the keepers of potential, the renewal mechanism, the reason you can maintain yourself despite wear and tear, despite damage and aging, despite time's relentless advance. Sleep deepens further still, if that's possible. Beyond sleep into something like suspended animation, metabolic rate lowered, body temperature dropped slightly, all non-essential functions minimized, all resources directed to repair. This is the healing state, the regenerative mode, the maintenance program running. And while you rest in this deep state, while conscious mind is completely offline, your biological mind continues, your cellular intelligence operates, making 1 trillion decisions per second, adapting to conditions, maintaining homeostasis, performing repairs, generating tomorrow's vitality. You don't need to do anything. You are this doing, not separate from your biology, but identical with it. You are your cells, your metabolism, your stem cells dividing. You are the healing, the regeneration, the continuous renewal. And in the morning, when light comes, when you wake, the process will continue, different but continuous. Metabolism increasing, body temperature rising, conscious mind re-engaging, movement resuming. But the cellular work never stops, the healing never ceases, the regeneration never pauses. Day or night, wake or sleep, this is constant. This is life. This is the price and privilege of being biological. The foods you'll eat tomorrow, they'll support tomorrow's healing. The movement you'll do, it'll signal tomorrow's adaptations. The sleep you'll have tomorrow night, it'll enable tomorrow night's regeneration. Each day, each choice, each pattern, building on the last, creating trajectory, shaping biology, determining health. But that's tomorrow's concern. Tonight is for rest, for release, for repair. Tonight is for trusting the body's wisdom, for allowing the healing, for surrendering to the automatic processes that sustain life. The body keeps healing, quiet, steady, certain. Stem cells bloom within, tiny gardens in marrow darkness, potential waiting, ready, capable, and we'll keep drifting, floating together through health science, through biological truth, through the poetry of cellular renewal. This learning continues, even in deepest sleep. These patterns establish, even below consciousness. This care manifests, even without trying. The body responds to knowledge, to attention, to nutrition. Healing happens. Regeneration proceeds. Stem cells activate, round and round. The cycle continues. Damage and repair, breakdown and renewal, death and birth at the cellular level, entropy and organization in constant balance. This is life. This is health. This is the gift of a well-functioning body, and you support it through choices, through care, through consistency, through eating foods that signal healing, that provide materials, through resting when needed, through moving regularly, through managing stress where possible, through connecting with others, through all the behaviors that create conditions for optimal function. The stem cells respond to all of it, to the whole pattern. They function better when supported, worse when neglected. This is not magic. This is not mystery. This is biology responding to environment. This is you taking care of you in the most fundamental way. By providing what your cells need, then allowing them to do what they know how to do. And so we end where we began, in the floating, in the drifting, in the space between wake and sleep, between learning and resting, where information becomes integration, where knowledge becomes knowing, where the conscious effort releases into automatic function. Your body knows now, even if your mind forgets. Your cells remember, even if you don't recall the details. The pattern is established, the support is provided, the healing happens. Tonight, tomorrow, every night, every day. For as long as you maintain this care, this attention, this support, the regeneration continues, the stem cells function, the healing proceeds, the body keeps healing. Quiet stem cells bloom within and will keep drifting, floating together through health science, through the night, through all the nights to come. As long as life persists, as long as cells divide, as long as patterns maintain, the healing never stops, the renewal never ceases, the miracle continues. Rest now, complete, deep healing